You can make starter bases like these soon after starting a new world. No clay or metal tools required. Let's go over what blocks you have access to at the start of the game before even finding any clay. These are going to be your easy dirt-based blocks. First, we have packed dirt, which is just 6 dirt, and it will give you 6 packed dirt. And grass will not grow on packed dirt. Then we got arid dirt, which is a little bit of a lighter tone, and you do the same thing, but instead of 2 dirt in the middle, you replace it with 2 of any sand, and you'll get 6 packed arid dirt. Then we have cob, which kind of looks like normal dirt, just a lot more rough, and it can also grow grass on top. The reason you might want to use this block is because it's very cheap. You'll get 10 cob for just 4 dirt and 5 dry grass. And then if you want to block a little bit more yellow than the arid packed dirt, we got strewn straw, which is going to be 3 dirt and 3 dry grass, and that'll give you 4 strewn straw. And moving on is rammed earth. This block is awesome. I didn't know about it when I first started playing. It's basically just 6 packed dirt will give you 6 rammed earth, and it's just dirt. It just is dirt, and you get like this stone-like texture. It's awesome. What's even better is that you can just put it back in your crafting table and get 4 other variants. You can get ones that kind of almost give like a brick kind of look, and just it's just awesome. You can get rock looking blocks from just dirt. And on to our next section over here, we got our stone based blocks that we can get very easy at the start of the game. We got over here our path blocks, stone, stair, and slab. For the normal path block, it's just dirt and 4 stone on top. For the stone path stair, it's going to be 1 dirt and then 3 stone at the top and 1 stone to the right. And then the stone path slab, which is just 1 dirt and a stone on the left, stone on the right. A great thing about the path block is that it will increase your movement speed. It's not a lot, but hey, it's still cool. And then with just the stone pebbles, you can actually craft stone fences. So just 6 stone will get you a stone fence. And then you can even get like a stone cobblestone block, but it has to be a fanned cobblestone block. But to do that, you just do 7 stone, and then you do gravel and sand. And then you'll get 2 fanned cobblestone. Going on to the next section, we got the easy wood in quotation mark items, because it's actually mostly just sticks. So over to the left is a tool rack, which is for your tools, but nothing says you can't use it for decorating. But it'll take 6 sticks arranged like this, and you'll get a tool rack. Next we got moving on is the rough hewn fence. You'll craft it with an axe in the corner, 2 oak logs, and 2 sticks. Will get you 8 rough hewn fences. And then we got a wattle fence, which is just a fence purely made out of sticks, and then you gotta use your knife as well. And you'll get 5 wattle fence. And then you can make fence gates. You can make a rough hewn gate and a wattle gate. For the rough hewn one, you'll use 4 sticks and 4 logs and an axe in this pattern, and you'll get 2 gates from it. And for the wattle gate, it's just 3 sticks, a knife, and you'll get 1 gate. And then we got ladders, which you can craft with 7 sticks. We'll get you 3 wooden ladders. And then you can actually make a door. It's called the crude door. It takes 2 logs and 3 sticks and an axe, and then you'll get 1 door. But I would not recommend using this as an actual door. Maybe for decoration or a different part of the build, but that's because it has a chance to just break off. Oh, there you go. I was gonna be like, of course you're not gonna break what I'm recording. But yeah, so you'd have to constantly replace it, which if you don't mind doing that, like replacing it every time it breaks, then sure, use it. But I'm not gonna show it in my builds being used like this. Then we got a layer of sticks, which is just 9 sticks will get you a layer of sticks. And then there's logs. You do have access to a stone axe early in the game, so you can use logs as building material. You can turn into oak quarter logs, which is just 6 oak logs and an axe at the top, and then you'll get 6 quarter logs. Over here at the next section, we got thatch roof, all the early game roofing. The thatch roofs come in a lot of different shapes and varieties. Honestly, I feel like they're missing some important shapes to make certain types of roofs, but this is still not too bad. Just look it up in the handbook for thatch roof, and then you'll find all the different thatch roofs and just take a look at what the recipes are and see all the different shapes. So they can be made from thatch like this, which thatch you'll get from these tool plants when you harvest it from a knife, similar to how the cattails work. You just get thatch instead of a cattail. Or if you don't have enough tool or just can't find any, then you can use hay blocks for crafting the thatch roofs. And hay blocks, you just craft from dry grass. It's just 8 dry grass, 1 hay block. Now that is a little tedious still though, because it's 8 dry grass you have to manually chop up for per hay block. And at the last section over here, we got a bunch of plant related decorational stuff. Firstly, we got flowers. Flowers is an amazing way to add decoration and color to your early builds because flowers are literally everywhere. You can find them everywhere on the map. They're super easy to get. Look, there's some even right over there. You just grab them with your hands like this and they will usually all drop. And then we got berry bushes, which is a really good decorational option because they just look nice, but they also give you food every now and then. And similar to the flowers, you can just pick up the bushes just with your hands, just punch them and you'll get the bush and you can replant them. It does reset its growth stage, but when you find bushes out in the wild, collect them, bring them back to your base. And then we have the etc. plants and vines that you can pick up. So if you're in an area where there's these silver torch cactuses, you can pick them up. You can actually pick up papyrus, tool, and cactus and replant them. And how you do that is that you just go up to one of these type of plants, and after you harvest it like normal, you just break it again, the roots with your knife, and then you'll get, well, a root. And then you can just replant this wherever you want and it'll grow. And then we also got these like fern trees, tall ferns, and then vines, which are these things right here, which you can also just pick up by punching it. A lot of flowers and stuff, surprisingly, you can just get by punching this game. Not all, but a good amount. And lastly, we got rush matting, which is a really cool block that is just made out of papyrus and or cattails. 8 of them and a knife in the corner will get you 1 rush matting. And you can just place this on top of any block. It just adds this little texture to it. They work great as doormats and all sorts of other things you want. It can be part of your floor or whatever. And that's all the blocks we have access to early in the game. At least that I'm aware of. Again, this is without getting any clay and no metal tools. But definitely let me know if you think I missed a block or a decorational item that you can get pre-clay that you could use for building a starter base. And I want to show you some houses I built just to give you inspiration examples. These are not going to be block by block tutorials, but this is the first house I did using the limitation of the early game blocks. I do think I went a bit overboard with some of the details and stuff, but yeah, you can use ladders as extra detail. They don't just have to be for climbing. I use fence gates for the windows and for the doors, because like I said before, I personally don't like using the crude doors because I don't want to have to keep dealing with them falling off and trying to put them back on. Especially if I'm being chased by a drifter. Imagine being chased by a drifter. You open the door and then you go to close it and the door just falls off. The drifter comes inside and it kills you. And the interiors aren't going to have anything fancy because this is more so about the outside. And then you can see I used the rammed earth to kind of be like the foundation and for the floor. You can use the thatch roof edge here as like a little almost like thing to go over the windowsill. I forget what they're called for some reason. I used a layer of sticks at the top here and then a layer of sticks over here to kind of create a not a balcony. I forget the words for all these things, but an area like this. I used a fanned cobblestone for a nice patio. That's what it's called. I created a nice little patio area over here. And we got a fence gate. Is that a dead wolf? Well, we got a dead wolf. No, an alive wolf. Never mind, correction. Value just went up. A live wolf. And something that makes a lot of the builds better, just like in Minecraft with spamming bushes, you can just spam flowers everywhere here and it'll probably just make things look better. And bushes. You can spam the cranberry bushes and the other berry bushes. For the next house, I went with more of the stone look. Again, this is just rammed earth, so technically not stone. And then I kind of have the like tops of what are kind of similar to castle walls. And then I spam the vines everywhere to kind of make it look a little overgrown and just nice. And I'm using ladders over here to help support the awning as one, just a different option that I think looks nice. But when I was trying to do this with fences, it would connect up with the wall here and just not look like how I want it to look. So with using the ladders, we can kind of get around that a bit. And then they kind of hug around the berry bushes here, and I just like how that looks, especially on this one over here. Got a little backyard patio area thingy with different sized awnings. And we're again using fence gates for windows and fence gates for doors. We got the rush matting here to be like a doormat. We used arid packed dirt for the floor, and we used strewn straw for the roof here. And I got some roof axes up here so we have even more room to put things up here. And then on to the next house. I did another house with a lot of rammed earth going on, but I threw in some arid packed dirt in the middle, used some thatch roofing and stuff. I even used the hay grass as part of like the little patio thing going on here. We're using some of the tool racks to add in some texture and variety. I got this planter thing on the beside of the window here, just some so you could just like put any old dirt here and like make like a staircase going up and wait for the grass to grow, or you can just put dirt here without the grass, doesn't really matter. And these are actually the crude doors. I'm using the crude doors as windows instead of the door, instead of actual doors. I tried to add some variety to the shape to kind of make this like jutting out part in the back over here. And we go inside here, and I have ladders going up to a roofing part. And up here, I use quarter logs for the roof. And then I made this funny little roof design out of layer sticks. I did initially make it like completely full of layer sticks, but I kind of didn't like how that looked from the ground. So I added these holes, but I want to make sure that there was a layer stick in the middle here. I thought it would be very cool to have like a fire pit up here, and so you can do some like outdoor fire pit cooking and stuff. And then also I did this tiki torch kind of thing. It's just a rough hewn fence and then a torch on top. Now the torch will eventually go out just like torches do, but yeah, it's cool, but the torches will die, sadly. If you still want to stick with a dirt hut of sorts, well, you can still upgrade it by making a hobbit hole. Now, normally, it is hard to make a hobbit hole in this game because to break through stone, well, you need a metal pickaxe. And so you usually have to wait till the metal age so you can, like, dig into the side of a cliff or mountain. But who says you need to dig into the side of a cliff? Why not? You manufacture a side of a cliff and manufacture your own little hillside. Yes, what I'm suggesting is still it's just a bunch of dirt, but it's not too hard to do. But it does take some landscaping skills in these kind of games, but it's not too hard, I swear. But yeah, just find a suitable location and just start building up a fake facade of a hillside that is already hollow, and you just turn that into like a little hobbit hole. For this type of project, since it will take a lot of dirt, I would recommend using cob because you get 10 cob out of 4 dirt and 5 dry grass. So it's very efficient in terms of turning dirt into more dirt blocks essentially. And it can still have grass grow over it, so you can then have a grassy top like we do right here. So for this, I got my tiki torches out here. I got my usual flower spam. I decided to use some of the tools, threw some of them out here. Got the vines, just foliage everywhere. And then I got a little stack of hay bales over here to just kind of make the space look more lived in and used. And then fence gates here for the door. I tried doing like a 3x3 door fence gates or whatever, and I don't know, I couldn't figure out how to make it look nice in my opinion, or for me. And so instead I just went like this, where it kind of still gives the vibe of a big door, but it's technically just a 1x2 door. And then you might have noticed I added a chimney here. So I used rammed earth and then the stone fences, and then we got a little chimney going on here. That if we go inside, we also have a fireplace where you can actually have your fire pit right here. It's got some rot, don't mind that, and you can do some cooking. But yeah, you can have a manufactured hobbit hole that is just very roomy and spacious. And we're going to start going through these houses a bit faster going forward, because it's just reusing a lot of stuff I've already talked about. We got a tree house here. Just found myself a good tree house and built a house around it. Had the tree going through the middle here. And I think this tree house is fun. It's cute and fun. Not a lot of space up here though. But I didn't stop there. I wanted to try and make a different tree house. So this here, I found a pine tree that was tall. And instead of making the tree go through the middle, I instead built the tree house off to the side. And then I actually placed these logs here manually so that it looks like the tree is better supporting the tree house. It's a lot more spacious comparatively since it doesn't have the tree trunk running through the middle, but it is still technically a 3x3. But I think this is a cute little hut that is partially functional. And then I have one last one to show you. I made a little dock house, like a fisherman's hut of sort. I use layer of sticks to kind of make a very sketchy dock. And then I used a lot of hay bales for the roof here to kind of get this slanted look. Because of the hay bales, this is honestly a pretty expensive roof because it will just take a lot of time because it's 8 dry grass per hay bale. So it's just a bit tedious. It's doable, but tedious. And one thing to note, when you're doing a double door, this is a situation where I might actually prefer using the crude doors. Just because with the fence gates, you have this thing in the middle and you can't actually walk through it. I wouldn't care if I could walk through this like you can in Minecraft, but you actually get stuck here. So a 2x2 fence door is probably not the way to go. So we will just replace this. And there we go. Got a 2x2 crude doors. Got our windows here and windows over there. It's nice and cozy. Now they just need to add fishing to the game and then this hut will make way more sense. One quick thing to note if you want to use one of these starter houses long term is that if you don't upgrade the doors and windows to like glass and like a proper wood door later, then going into winter, you might have some small issues because right now, these types of windows and doors, the game will not count this as a room or an inside room. So here, I'll show you. If I do /debug rooms high, it will highlight the room in red, signifying that the game does not see this as a room. Now, why does this matter? That's because in winter, you get cold, and when you get really cold, you can start taking damage. Also, when you're outside when it's cold, your hunger rate will deplete faster, or your hunger will deplete faster. And so since the game is not considering this a room, it's considered the same as outside. And if you want to get rid of the highlight here, just do the same command, but instead of high at the end, do unhigh, and it'll unhighlight the area. And one last thing, if you ever find like ruins like this, an option you can do is just to, well, honestly, just try and restore them and kind of just live out of it. So to restore them properly, you're going to have to wait until you can actually make cobblestone yourself. But in the meantime, to at least start out, you could just use rammed earth, just kind of build things up and and just restore it and then upgrade it to be the cobblestone and other stuff later. And that's definitely always another option. Well, that's gonna do it. I don't have anything more to show you or tell you about. I hope this was helpful. I hope you have fun making your next starter base when you start a new game. And I hope you've learned something. Even if you knew most of this, maybe there's one thing that you're like, oh, that's a cool idea, or I never thought to do it like that, or I didn't know that block existed or that you can get it so early. Let me know if you enjoyed the video, and I plan on making more vintage story videos soon because I just really enjoy this game. So thank you for watching, and I will hopefully see you later. Bye.